Okay. So we have seen how the infinite loop can be ended and how the infinite loop can happen when we are uh, doing any program. So any logical error will lead to infinite loop. So the next slide is this is your homework, because every program we cannot illustrate on this, because each program will take a lot of time to illustrate uh, how the algorithm will take place, what variables we have to define. So that will take too much time to explain on this session. Okay, so at least I'm giving you something like homework. And if you, I know that everybody doesn't know the exact coding. So the same case is with me. So I don't remember any coding, or I don't by heart any coding. So I just jot down the algorithm, what I have to do, and how I have to approach to solve a particular problem. So if you are ready with that algorithm, then you can write the program in any language, whether it will be C++ or whether it will be VBA, or whether it can be a C hash. So at least try to jot down the algorithm for these listed, what we say, listed macros, or the what we have to achieve with the macro. So we have to sort few numbers in ascending order, sort the numbers in descending order, count the number of numeric entries from a column, count the number of string entries in a column, find the maximum and minimum out of all numeric entries in a column. So this fifth number, I have already written a code so that I can illustrate you. There are two ways to find a minimum or maximum from either with the help of a sub subroutine or a program which you can write, or another way is to use the Excel inbuilt functionality, as I have already shown you how to use how to remove the duplicates. So same way you can record a macro and you can see how the macro is getting written for finding maximum or minimum. Okay. But if in case you don't want to use that functionality from inbuilt functionality from the Excel, if you don't want to use the inbuilt functionality from Excel, then you have to devise a method to find out a maximum from a number. So we will see what are the entries into a column, and then by our naked eyes we can visualize what is the maximum number from this. So here is the header and these are the numbers. So we can see with our eyes that this 999 is the highest or the maximum out of these two numbers. So now we will see whether the program is also giving us the same output from here. I have used very simple function which is inbuilt in Excel, max, uh, from the whole of this column D. So the Excel is giving us output as 999. So now we will see whether the program written by us is giving the same output or not. Initially, I will just run the program. So here also Excel is displaying us the same, whatever the code we have written is correct, and it is also displaying us the same output as 999. Now we will see exactly what we have done inside the code, and whatever we have done inside the code, the external functionality is also developed more or less the similar way. So what we are going to do first, we have to count the number of entries and store them as a counter. So the first step towards finding the maximum out of a number is you count how many entries are there in the column which you want to compare with each other. So where you will find these entries? So the counter is equal to cells 1 comma 6. So whenever we are writing this address as cell 1 comma 6, is nothing but the first digit is implying us the row number, and the second digit is telling us about the column number. So how many numbers are there that the program is taking from this particular row and this particular column? So what is that particular row and column? Row number 1 and column number 6. So there are total 9 numbers to be compared with each other. So that program has taken within its memory. Then to start with, declare max as the very first entry in a column. So how we are going to proceed here? We right now the program doesn't know which is the maximum value out of the listed entries. So the program has to start with a first entry as first we will assume that the first entry in a column is the maximum, and then we will compare the first entry with another entries in the column, and we will check whether that entry, the next entry, is the maximum or the one which we have assumed is the maximum. Okay, so here I have written the below for loop in combination with if loop, because we have to use this for loop in combination with if loop, which will compare each entry row wise in fourth column with the maximum which we have assumed at the start, and the value of maximum. This maximum is a variable, so this the value of maximum variable will keep on changing after comparison. So this maximum will keep on changing depending upon which number is the maximum amongst the two. So how we are going to proceed with the program? So we will start with this for loop. For I is equal to 1 to counter. So counter here is 9. We have total 9 numbers. So for I is equal to 1 to 9, if the cells I plus 1 comma 4 is greater than max. So what we have decided max as the first entry, row number 2, column number 4. So which is the row number 2, column number 4? This is the row number 2, column number 4. So initially we have assumed that 34 is the highest number among these 4 entries. Now we are going to check with each entry whether 22 is higher than 34, 53 is higher than the maximum between 34 and 22, likewise. So with this, if the entry I plus 1, what is this I plus 1? This I will keep on changing from 1 to 9, and this, as we know, the first entry before the comma represents the row. So we have, in order to keep the row changing, because we have to compare the all the entries in the in whole of the column. So for every for loop, our row number should keep on increasing by 1. So that is the reason I have written here I plus 1 comma 4. The column comma 4 will remain constant as all the entries are there in column 4 only. So this column number is not going to change. The only variable entry is going to be the row number. So this way, what the program is doing, if the cells if the next cell in an entry is greater than the max which we have assumed, then max is equal to this entry. If not, then the max is equal to this is the first entry which we have considered. That value will remain same. Else and if means if this entry is the maximum amongst the two, then don't do anything. Only if the next entry is greater than the assumed one, then you change that max to the that particular entry. So this is the command we are giving with the help of programming language. And after doing this, go to the next variable, the next number in the next entry. So this is the reason we have written here next I. And after the program falls out of this, out of the last entry, when the counter will reach to 9, what we are going to do, by that time, the program will be ascertain, program will have already ascertained what is the maximum value out of the 9 entries. So we have a message box here, max. The same message box I have written in three different ways. in a single line, in a two lines which are combined with each other, and the two lines which separated by a line. So we can run again for your you can see here. So this first entry is 999. The message box displays only one single value in one particular line. In second, the maximum value is the sentence accompanied with the value, and both the outputs are in a single line. And in the third statement, the maximum value is equal to 999. So 999 value has in the second line with a one line separator. Okay. So this way we can write a program to find out maximum. Also, you can record a macro and use the Excel functionality inbuilt, and you can compare how those two programs are, uh, uh, how these two programs we can means you can find the relative comparison between the two programs. Okay. So the next, so here the pure VBA. Now I am going to leave it up to you. How once you develop these algorithms, by algorithm, what I mean is this is called as algorithm. This type of what we say a code is important. How to use for loop will be for C++, for Java, for Fortran, for VBA. The syntax will keep on changing, but the main what we say the algorithm is going to be the same. So if you are able to uh, what we say devise this mechanism to achieve your goal, then you can write program in any of the language, because the syntax is readily available on Google or YouTube. Okay. So that is the message I wanted to convey. Now we will move on to the next item. How to link STAD with Excel VBA. So that is one of the thing we will see now. So whenever you open any STAD file, you go to help, and there you will find this open STAD help. So I have already kept that tab open, and I will show you, and I will illustrate one or two examples with that open STAD. So this is the help menu from OpenStat. So here you can see a general description overview is given about OpenStat. You can go through this once, and then these are the models. So here the STAD has allowed us to extract these many informations from its file. So whatever the you can see here, we in a recent program we have used this get base unit. So the STAD has already written a subroutine for extracting the base unit. So we just have to copy and paste it to the our VBA program, and then we have to keep that particular STAD file open. And if we keep that STAD file open, if we correctly copy and paste this VBA syntax into our program, then we will get the desired output. So here is the list. There are various parameters. In root, we can access the base unit, the file name, the file folder in which the STAD file is there. In geometry, we can extract the nodes, we can extract the beam information, we can extract the physical information, plate information. There are many things. I have not gone into all the details. Whatever the tasks we have in front of us, only that part I refer to here, and then accordingly I make the program. So even I am not aware of all these functionalities. Okay. So let us first take one of the example from OpenStat. Is okay. Now, how to get the base unit? Uh, how to get the base unit? Now, what we will do? we will define the function name as base unit, and we will provide these curly brackets. Automatically, this end sub will be appeared here. And in between this, we have to copy the code which is there, which is given there in the OpenStat. So what we are going to do, we are going to find the base unit item here in, so you could go to base unit. So if you go to base unit, you can see here this particular syntax is given. So what I have done, I have simply copied these to this our Excel spreadsheet, uh, Excel VBA column. Okay, so this looks like this way. Now, one thing you have to understand that these two lines which I have highlighted here, this is the second line and this is the first line. Whenever you are extracting any information from the stat using OpenStat, remember that these are the two constant lines. I have written here for your reference a constant line while we deal with OpenStat. The function of these two lines is nothing but our Excel VBA is going to get connected to the corresponding library of the OpenStat. And unless we use this command, the output, the desired output which we want to retrieve from stat will not come. Okay. So now I have kept one stat file open. And now we will check, first we will run and then we will verify whether I have set the correct base unit or not, or the base unit displayed by program is the same which is there on my screen for my stat. So take your cursor over here, go to run the program. So here, what base unit it is going to display here? It is going to display a number 2. So why number 2? Then you have to go to OpenStat functionality and then check here what number 2 means. The value will return 2 for metric system. So since the program has returned me a value of 2, that means my stat application has the base unit as a metric. Okay, in case the program would have written value of 1, that would have meant that my base unit is English. So here we can check, open a new stat window and check whether the base unit is metric or not. Go to configure. Now you can see here my base unit is matrix, and that is the reason the program has given me output as 2. Okay. So this way it is very simple to extract any information from stat base unit. Now we will see another OpenStat command, and that is a new stat file. How to create a new stat file. So again, go to OpenStat functionality, search where the new stat file option is there. New stat file, new stat file, new stat file. You can see here new stat file. Go to here. Now you copy the code and paste it into the VBA screen. So I have done the same thing. For this new stat file, I have copied the syntax and I have pasted over here. One thing you have to note that go and read the description of the parameters which are given here. So whenever I will, I need to create a new stat file, I will have to define the unit and define the length unit and define the force unit. So for defining the force unit and length unit, they have given numbers from 0 to 7. So every number is representing a particular unit for length and for force. So that unit you have to define in your program. So this is a general code, and here the stat OpenStat doesn't know what unit you are going to set. So here these are the variables: length unit input and force unit input. Here whether it is 7, 6, 5, 4, whatever that whatever unit you want to set, that you have to input over here. How to input that, I will explain you in this code. So first of all, you can see here these two lines are constant. In any OpenStat application, you have to remember that these two lines are constant. Without these two lines, your program will not run. You will not be able to get the output from the stat file. Now, this dim is nothing but we are defining the variable, and with this variable, we should know in advance what type of variable is going to store what type of data. For example, this particular variable the OpenStat has defined as for holding a stat file name. So stat file name is not a numeric. Stat file name is form of the alphabets. So the combination of alphabets is nothing but a string variable data type. So we saw in the last few slides that I have asked you to go through the variable what are the different types of data types. So there you will find there is a string type of data type. Okay, object is a type of data type that we need not go in deep dive into this because this is a constant. We cannot do anything over here unless we define this. The program will not run. Okay, the input length input unit and the force input unit, we are going to define them as an integer. Why integer? Because the stat functionality has shown that in order to provide those or in order to define those units, we have to use these digits 4, 5, 6 from 0 to 7. So 0 to 7 are nothing but integer type data. Integer type data means these are not the decimals. So that is the reason we have defined those variables as integer data type. Okay. So once you define that these are the variables which are going to take integer type of data, then this is the code. This stat file name, only giving the file name will not be sufficient. You also have the user also needs to provide the path. So this is the way the path and along with the file name is provided. So .std will be automatically applied by this particular macro. So length unit user needs to define. So now right now I have defined this as 1, and force unit I have defined as 1. So if the both units are number 1, if taking number as 1, then for 1 it is feet and pound. So these are the units. So we will see whether the new stat file is formed with these units or not. One thing the user has to remember that in order to, I will close the earlier stat, I will keep that open. One thing the user needs to remember that in case you don't have your stat application open, then the program is not going to run. Okay. So you need to keep at least this window open in order to make this program run. So now I have already given this path and I will run this program. Now let us see whether the stat file with session 1 as a stat file name gets created or not. So I will go here and I will run this program. So after running this program, that session 1, here the session 1 stat file has been generated, but I don't know why it is not opening. Maybe I have kept this stat file open, or Okay, so this stat file is open over here. Now you can see the stat file with the name as session 1 has been opened, and you can see here the units are fits. But unless you define any coordinate inside this particular file, 10 minutes are left. Unless you define any coordinates, it will not reflect in your input editor. So in order to reflect these units into input editor, you have to give some coordinates over here. Now you can see when I define these coordinates as 0, 0, 0, now the input has getting defined over here as input feed point. Unless I define this coordinate, you will not see these 3 lines. Okay. So this way we have used the OpenStat function to create a new stat file. So I will close timing. Now only 10 minutes are left, so I will quickly, only one example or sample problem is balanced. So that also I will cover. The next stat functionality is, I think the presentation is, this is the last, yes, end of session 1. So once I complete that example, our first session is over. Another stat file, we have already opened. Oh, I have closed. I will again open that. This particular stat file is already there with us, and now our task is to find out what is the what is the node count for this particular stat file. So how many number of nodes are there in this particular stat file? So I have kept this stat file open, and I have copied the code which was there in the node count. So node count, you go to geometry, go to node, and see here where is the node count. Node count, add node, create node, get node count. So here you will find VBA syntax given as this one. Okay. But the exception over here is if you copy this syntax into VBA code, our previous 2 examples we have seen, we have exactly copied the given syntax into our VBA code, and those are working well. But every now and then it is not possible because I exactly, even I don't know the reason. But earlier I used to work on older version of the stat, and there the syntax given was this syntax. So, and if you see here at this point also with the new version of stat, this particular symbol is working, and the one which we have copied from the OpenStat functionality is not working. So if you see here, now I have removed the comment and it is showing erroneous command for the VBA. So that is the reason I have deliberately taken this example, that don't assume that every time it will work when you copy a particular syntax from the VBA to from the OpenStat to VBA. So in case any of the, if you come across any issue, you have to contact Bentley communities. You can get help from them. Can anybody tell me how many minutes are left so I can wind up? Hello? Hello?
1 minute.
Oh, yes, 5 minutes are left. Yes, I can see here. 5 minutes are left. Okay. So now what I will do, I will use my old syntax from OpenStat functionality, which is this one, because earlier I had old version of STAD, and now I already had a program where I have used this node count function. So I am copying this particular command from that particular file. So I have pasted over here, and now you run the file, run the macro. You can see compile error, expected function or variable node count. Okay. So you can see here it is the message box is displaying us the node count as 150. Okay. Now go to stat file and check whether our stat file really have 150 nodes. So what I will do, I will select node cursor, I will select all the nodes and I will try to delete them. So now you can see here it has correctly given us the output as 150 nodes. So this way we can, as I told you, getting the information from OpenStat is only a 10% activity. The most of the rigorous activity, 70% job is what we have to, how we are going to achieve our goal. Whether it is finding the effective length of column, whether you want to design the foundation or whatever is the our objective, how to process that data and how to write a code for that, whether to use for loop, whether to use if loop, whether to use while do loop, how to interconnect those all the loops, what are the probable errors user can do while inputting. So all these things we have to keep in mind, how the output is going to be displayed on our Excel sheet. So these all things the programmer needs to keep in mind before proceeding ahead with the programming. And one should not worry much about the code or syntax, because even I am not going to even I don't mug up or by heart these long codes. I just copy from one program to another, so that way I avoid the error. So that's all for the first session. So if you have any queries or if you have any suggestions also in the next session, I will try to accommodate those. Ikra, Ejaz sir, Izar sir,
We
hello.
get queries after we start using
No,
Excel.
actually.
Yes, so that is
Yeah,
the reason
once we start going to the
I have taken very basic examples. Otherwise, it is not possible to finish those explaining those in 40 minutes. So can
no, what I
we?
think that was the right way because we all are not much of aware with that coding and all the things. So that was good. So we expect that
So first,
we will start with something.
we can try with very simple
Yes,
commands, and we will make Excel work for us. First, you ask the Excel to find the maximum. First, you ask the Excel to find the minimum. First, you ask the Excel to sort, and you record that macro and see what it is doing. Or if we want to format any particular cell, you record the macro, give the cell red background, make the text or font bold, make the text color blue, and then see what commands are getting written in the macro when the Excel is recording. And the same commands we can follow in the program which we want to write. Okay. So that's all with this particular presentation. And if you like this presentation, we will take further sessions with different examples. There we can take the real time examples which we can accommodate in 40 minutes. Okay. Can we end
yes,
the session here?
definitely. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, I think so. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
We
Thank you
should.
all.
Yes.
less than
Okay.
1 minute is left. We will
Yeah.
meet again.
Thank you,
Yes.
Pranita.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.